Maurice and Christine, Clendon Charlemagne has finally been able to return to work at the shipping company behind me 8 months after he was wrongly arrested for selling drugs to police. He says he was humiliated. He had to move his family to Rhode Island. And now he wants the Queens District Attorney's Office, the NYPD, and the city to pay for their mistakes. 63-year-old security guard and father of 4, Clendon Charlemagne, says he's broke and emotionally traumatized after he was wrongly accused of selling drugs to an undercover NYPD officer.
I live in hell. That day when it happened, I thought I was living in a nightmare, to see that I'm arrested for something I didn't do at all.
Charlemagne, a former police officer in St. Lucia, says his nightmare began in June. He was working security for DHL at JFK Airport when police busted into his Far Rockaway apartment at the Redfern houses with a warrant to search for drugs. His wife and children were home.
They smashed the door down. They hit her in the eye with the door in her left eye. They pushed her with the kid. She had a baby on the shoulder at the time. And they cuffed my 14-year-old, my stepson.
Police found nothing, but 3 months later in September, they returned and arrested Charlemagne, accusing him of selling drugs to an undercover cop 3 times at this public housing building in Far Rockaway.
I tell you, that's not me. Maybe they had the wrong, the wrong guy. That's not me at all. I don't do drugs.
Charlemagne was arraigned and released on his own recognizance, but his security license was suspended because of the charges, so he couldn't work his 2 security jobs. His boss, former NYPD detective Bob Watts, told investigators he had surveillance video and signed timesheet records proving Charlemagne was at work when police claim he was selling drugs.
He worked 4 to midnight. He could not be in Far Rockaway. And, they said things like, well, he probably went on his lunch break. I said, listen to me, he gets a half hour. You can't even get to Far Rockaway in a half hour at 5 o'clock at night.
Nevertheless, it took the DA more than 6 months to finally clear Charlemagne of all charges. He's hired an attorney and filed a claim against the city, the Queens District Attorney, and the NYPD.
This is a misidentification that resulted in the terrorization of not only my client, but his entire family.
I was upset, I was mad, and I'm still mad.
Now, the Queens District Attorney's Office tells us that it took them several months to subpoena business records, to interview witnesses, to conclude that it was highly unlikely that Mr. Charlemagne sold drugs to those undercover cops. In that time, he did not serve any jail time. The New York City Law Department, speaking on behalf of the city and the NYPD, says it is still reviewing Mr. Charlemagne's claims. We're live at JFK tonight. Hazel, Sanchez, CBS 2 News.
Okay.